Hi, welcome to A Punk with Toys. My name is Lawrence, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Heavy Armory Toys, Navy Seabees, and yes, they come just wrapped in this package. Now, in this here, we do get an extra head, or a different head. I don't know what's too different about it. If you watch my other videos, especially the Navy sailors, you'll see that it had a whole bunch of different heads, so you can swap it also with different hands, so for the different colored figures that it would match. But we're going to be taking a look at the CB here. He does come with an extra torso. I didn't know what it was. Somebody said they had issues, I guess, with these torsos after they were made, so they gave everyone this torso. There is no documentation. There is nothing. I really have to look. To me, that's kind of poor on their side, not letting us know, hey, this is something you need to address, or hey, if this is bothering you. And if I am correct, I believe this is the same buck for the most part as the sailor right there. So anyway, we're gonna open this up, take a look at everything. We're gonna swap out one of these torsos, see if it's different, see if they set different, because I have two of these figures for two different head sculpts, two different CBs, and my ever-growing naval, my ever-growing Navy that I have here. So anyway, let's take a look at this. Before we do, if you like this type of content, you like what I'm giving you, take a second, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification so you're notified every time I drop something like this. Alright, so I got these guys out, and I already went ahead and I swapped the torso. No reason for you to watch it. If you need to watch and know how it's done, like I said, I'll drop a link to this sailor. I showed you how to do it there if need be. So quickly, we'll go over the accessories, then we're going to look at the torsos. So first thing that we have is this stand right here. They do work pretty well if you use stands. Most people know, if you're a fan of my channel, I'm not a big guy with stands. Alright, so it does go in there. It is fairly tight, but again, the plastic they use, you don't really have to worry about things breaking. But the bigger issue is, how does it fit on an O-ring? Well, O-ring sits perfectly fine, but it is loose, all right? This is not going to stay on it, but that is fine because you don't want a heel to break out or a peg to be stuck in the foot. So as you can see, it's sitting here on this aircraft carrier without a problem. These figures don't really fall over, all right? Then we have this M16. Now this is the same one that came with the sailor right there. You got your iron sight, and then there's your barrel. You've got the handle. You can see the trigger and the trigger guard. There's your magazine. No removable magazine, which it would be very difficult at this size. It's got the stock sitting here, nice grip. All right, and then over on this side, you see everything that's supposed to be over here. Again, I think it is a nice looking M16. It's not too large. It fits probably what the actual size of an M16 should be. So there's two of them because I got two of these figures. All right. As for the figure, it's oh, you know what, the torsos. So I'm looking at the torsos here. All right, and the biggest issue is this is how they come. All right, and you see this angle that he's at. He wants to constantly go back there. So someone told me the reason for this is it means they won't go back, all right? Now, they still tend to want to go there, but he doesn't want to snap back the same. As for the sailor here, see, he kind of does the same thing, all right? So maybe that's exactly what that torso is. But the other thing that I had noticed, there go the dominoes. When you look at this, so this is the original one that it comes with. This is the extra one they give you. This one has a sheen to it. This one is more matte. I actually think that the one they give you looks better than this one. So I'll probably be swapping them both out. The color is slightly different, but I don't think it's supposed to. I think it just has to do with the matte and the shine that they're actually using. So we're gonna take a look at the at the one where he was swapped out, and look at everything that he does come with. So we'll look at both head sculpts. Easy to hear. So they're the exact same head sculpt. What's different about them? Hold on, I mean, What? Okay, so these are the same ones. All right. So what you have here is the white pupils make it look like it's a little bit different. So it gives the character a little bit of a different feel. The skin tone is still the same, and the sculpt is the exact same. All right. Now for these here, at least with the sailor, I had no issue. I just popped the head right off. All right. So obviously I bought 2 of them so I can have 2 different head sculpts. I guess they do recommend to heat it. I don't know where. They don't give you any documentation. These just come in a bubble mailer. Man. There you go. They just come in a bubble mailer, and that's that. Bubble mailer, and then in a small little baggie like that. All right. So, looking at the head, I think it looks good. All right. You got the nice hat right there. That is not the marine cover. At least it shouldn't be, although that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That is an 8-point cover. So if that is a marine cover, please let me know. These are supposed to be Seabees. I know someone will yell at me, especially if they were a marine and it is a marine. But looking at this, it looks pretty good. All right. You can see a little mark right there. The little air holes. You do have the seam line across it. That really doesn't bother me. The hair, I think, looks pretty good. You can see it has a little bit of texture there. As for the eyes, you get the white on the pupil here. You get the black across top there. Then it looks like we have brown eyebrows. Yep, and this is the same one. Like, the only difference, I think, is the white irises, which, I don't know, seems kind of weird. But that's all they did to make something change. I thought they would have had 2 different skin tones like they did with the sailors. I have a feeling we'll probably see those coming next. Now, looking at the buck here, I believe this is a mix of these 2 bucks. All right. So, looking at it here, the uniform is the exact same going down to the legs, and then the bottom of the legs and the boot, these look to be the same. So it's a mix and match, and that's perfectly fine. That is what O-rings are very well known for. All right. But we'll take a look at it. You can see he has an undershirt right there. He's got the collar, pocket. I love the fact that they have little buttons, and you can see exactly where the seam for the shirt is. Long sleeve shirts. He's got some muscle here. Now with this here, I wish they didn't have such a break. That's a little disappointing. When you get a break like that, it just doesn't look aesthetically pleasing, but it's not the worst thing in the world. All right, here we have trigger fingers, and I've mentioned this before. This is the first O-ring that I can think of that has trigger fingers. They actually have trigger guards, so this is a way that you can actually see how they look, or how they're actually holding it. On the belt here, I love the fact that you get the belt buckles. You got some pockets right in the back. There's your belt buckle. I'm sorry, the belt loops, not belt buckle. Belt loops. All right, going all the way down, you can see all the wrinkles in the pant leg. And then you have this nice military boot, and you do have the hole for the hole, so you can use the stands if you need to. As for the articulation, the head can turn a full 360. I didn't realize that these were different neck pegs when I bought them, because I wanted to swap out and have different faces for all my shipwrecks. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of neck pegs. It only came with an extra one. All right. He can look down that much, not all that much, and can look up there. T-pose is always going to be great on an O-ring. They do swivel right here at the shoulder. There you have your 90-degree elbow bend, and then you have your wrist swivel. You can turn side to side. Again, this one is a little bit better than this. I do think that there's an issue with the T-hook. And the only reason why I say that is that was a huge problem with Delta 17, and they changed them out. So the O-ring, if you are wondering, is that piece right there. It is an O rubber band and O-ring. All right. They just look side to side, up and down, all kinds of things. There is your Jean-Claude Van Damme. You get your knee bends, 90 degrees. And then if you want them to have them sit. Now, this has been my gripe on all of them that I've had, is that their legs do not want to stay up. They go down just like that. So, as I mentioned in the other one, say I got a shipwreck right here. If I kick shipwreck's leg up, it stays in that almost 90 degree, how it should. All right? Even if it falls down a little bit like that, that might just be that it's loose over 30 plus years. Now I can still fit these in, let's say, an all striker, but if I want to have them sit down on a seat, let's say in the headquarters, it's going to be a little difficult, right? They're not going to want to stay there. You know, everything has to, it needs to be redesigned. It needs to be engineered a little bit differently. So what's probably happening is this goes up here, there's pressure, and as the O-ring tightens up, all right, as the O-ring tightens up, this is just going to kick back down. It's just something that needs to be redesigned. It is a definite design flaw. All right, I know people don't like when I criticize, but I got to be honest. That's what I'm doing with these reviews for, especially if you're going to be spending $22. It's not a deal breaker for me, but it is a little disappointing. All right, so here's the M16. Put it right there. Get that trigger finger. Now, what I was trying to show before is how you can pop this bad boy in here. All right, and with the wrist swivel, and this is, everyone is doing it, but Hasbro and Super 7, you know, the two companies that should. All right, I can now pose the figure actually holding a rifle, which is something no O-ring back in the day could do. Delta 17 is doing it, Call Sign Longbow, and Operation Recall R, Skeletron, everyone is doing the wrist swivel. You can barely see the break. You can't see a break at all when someone has long sleeve shirts, and it's barely noticeable here with this Navy SEAL. So now, again, when it comes to posing these figures, it's really not that hard. Again, you can see he's kind of on one toe. I don't use stands. There's very few stands even in the O-ring room, but there you go. That is your CB. I like these. It's a cool figure, and it just adds to this Navy that I guess I've been building over years. You know, everyone knows the story of my 8 shipwrecks for Christmas with the aircraft carrier. I'm not going to tell it. Someone will get mad at me. But there you go. That is your Heavy Armory Toys CB. Alright, so there you go. That is a look at the Heavy Armory Toys Navy CB. I had to look up Seabees. They're the guys that do the construction. They build the roads, the bridges, and different things like that, maintaining stuff. I had no idea what a CB is. So I just had to quickly look it up. And I like the fact that this is a small company that is doing something knowing not everyone has a USS flag, but the people that do it, it's one thing that as a Joe fan, as a kid, we didn't have. My dad bought 8 shipwrecks for Christmas to go with this aircraft carrier. Yes, if you're new to the channel, this is my original one that I got in 1985 for Christmas. 7 of those shipwrecks are my original. I already had one. I had 9. It's cool to get sailors, Seabees, Navy SEALs. It was always hard to try and actually have a naval fleet on this, or a naval, I don't know, what do you call it? A Navy. I guess that's what I'm looking for. I'm at a loss for words. Anyway, there you go. That is your CB. I think I've talked enough. I will leave a description, or I'll leave a link to this in the description. So if you're interested in getting these, you can pick one up. You can see what they're like, see if you like them. Again, if you're into O-rings, if you have a Navy, they do have Army soldiers also. I don't have any of those, so I don't know anything. I actually like these. Are they perfect? No, they need some work. Again, I will continue to criticize this right here. This is problematic. All right, I want them to sit, let's say, in the you know, in one of the deck chairs here, right? Can't really sit in the deck chair because that's as far up as he goes, because that O-ring is pulling too much up on the T-hook. But that's how it's supposed to be, which means the crotch needs to be fixed. Anyway, I've talked too much. You guys probably already know all this about O-rings and G.I. Joe and stuff like this. But I'm going to get out of here. But before we do, please take a second, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification so you're notified every time I drop. I speed that up like you haven't wasted enough time with me. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off. Right up here, I'm going to leave a link to the Navy SEAL, and down here is going to be the playlist of all the 118 stuff that I've done. Take care.